Wow, you guys. So something really awesome happened. There I was, just resting, recouping, after the whirlwind of June. But a couple days ago I woke up, looked at my phone, and what? Our channel had grown by over 500 subscribers seemingly overnight. I was floored. I can't just follow that up with a simple music video. I've got to do something to really hook those of you who just got here, expecting even more. So, let's play a game. How about tennis? Golf? Football? Or call me your cousin and let's go bowling. Huh? What's it all mean? Why those specific games? Well, believe it or not, those are just a few of the things that children in medieval Scotland would actually play. I know, right? I was pretty surprised to know how old some of those games are too. So let's play. But first, I release a new project every week, Thursdays at 3 Pacific. I need you to like, subscribe, and ring my bell so you can see everything we've got to offer. And leave a comment. We welcome the respectful feedback and look forward to interacting with the community. So once again, we're introduced to our main trio of characters, Martin, Shane, and Madeline, racing off towards a new outdoor activity. Now, Martin's in the lead and guides Madeline toward their next adventure, while Shane eagerly chases after both of them. But what are they getting up to? Well, Rate's Raving, a poem by a 15th century gentleman, indicates how, from the age of 3 to 7, children began to play. Surviving artifacts include small milestones from the later Iron Age or early Middle Ages found in Shetland and the mainland that may be children's toys. There are also some games counters and model swords. Rate's Raving attempts to persuade the author's son that tables, cards, and dice were only fit for children, suggesting that these were played by the young. Dice and cards. Imagine that. Oh yeah, poker, classically child's game. Solitaire. D&D! They were playing D&D? Maybe. Oh, but it also describes children gathering flowers, building houses with sticks, using sticks and reeds as swords and spears. Making a white horse out of a wand, to quote, creating what would later be known as a hobby horse. Oh, you know those horses, those horse toys with a long stick, and the horses head on it. An imaginative play in which pieces of bread were sailing ships, while girls would make dolls from scraps and flowers. And sports known to be played in the late medieval era of Scotland included football, golf, archery, and various bowling games known as lying bowlus, penny stains, and kyles, or skittles. Cache, a form of tennis, was played by two individuals or teams, bouncing a ball against a smooth wall, often the church. The rich may have taken part in hunting and hawking, and there is evidence in the 16th century of bear baiting, cockfighting, and dogfighting. Oh, that's a little later than our series, but, you know, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about the last three, as these are all blood sports of a kind, and in modern times, those have been rightfully deemed as illegal and very abusive to animals, and has even given some dog breeds, like the American Pit Bull, an extremely bad name. We actually rescued an American Pit Bull from a dog fighter several years ago. Sweetest dog we ever had. But as is often the case with these projects, we can see how the medieval times were in many ways different or even similar to the modern era now. I can't imagine people in Alden taking place in blood sports very often, if at all. So don't worry there. No animals are or will be harmed in the making of Tales of Atonement. But for those who would like to get involved and end these practices for good in real life, consider donating to the ASPCA. I'll put a link to them down in the description. So now, back to this. With that being said, there seem to be a lot of really bad misconceptions about childhood in the medieval era, especially in how they were treated. Many assume that children were just seen as small adults, but the facts actually state that they are just as they are today. Children were loved, cherished, and sometimes even coddled by their parents. In fact, the amount of children a family had never reduced the amount of love they had either. While people tended to have more children than they do now, only because the church's teachings disallowed contraceptive care, just like they do today, and children were never considered expendable or replaceable, even if a new baby was given the same name as a deceased child. Whew, I can really see that feeling a bit awkward. Like, imagine if something really bad happened to either Martin or Shane, and then Cassandra and Matthias had another boy and gave him that name? I don't see either of the surviving brothers really taking kindly to that sentiment. But anyway, we try really hard not to have repeat names in our series, so that each character is iconized by more than just their look. Names for characters become a part of their overall identity and how they're recognized for readers and viewers. Well, between the ages of 7 and 11, play was still an important part of the child's life. However, as the child's ability to learn and fulfill family duties grew, so did their responsibility to contribute. Helping out with tasks was suited to their age and development. They could care for animals and siblings, fetch and carry, cook, and even help out with the family business. Tiny fingerprints left in medieval stoneware show that children were involved in all aspects of family life. If circumstances allowed, 7 was the age of entrance into formal education, which I'll talk about a little bit later. Peasant and urban children took up responsibilities around the house. Still, even that wasn't without its dangers. Children were susceptible to household accidents or drowning, falling, or being hurt by animals as they played and explored. Whoa, that Now that reminds me of a few stories from my own childhood. Rowing boats, hiking hilly trails right off the side of steep cliffs. I even have a nasty scar from a snowboarding accident when I was only 14. And once my brother almost slid right off of a 30-foot drop while hiking. Yep, nature at its finest. It's fun to enjoy the outdoors, but it also comes with a level of respect and caution. I guess we'll just have to see how some of this sort of plays out for the youth in Alden, since some of their adventures are inspired by real-life events that happened to our authors and their siblings. But despite possible accidents or cruel masters or household chores and time away from home, childhood in the Middle Ages was not a dour time. Children were encouraged to play and adults ensured that they got the opportunity. Archaeologists have discovered everything from toy knights and horses to tiny cooking pots and pans. Gerald of Wales even describes building sandcastles with his brother as a child, although he built sand monasteries instead. Children played ball games, stick games, and sports, as well as what we'd now call board games like backgammon and chess. I guess Rate may have had a point. In some cathedrals, game boards carved into benches by medieval children that were pushed into the priesthood can still be seen to this very day. And they say it takes a village to raise a child, and the medieval community was committed to caring for its children, with the church, local lords, or godparents stepping in to help out when needed, and to care for orphans. Even with all this care and support, just as now, not every child had an idyllic upbringing. Still, just as now, medieval childhood was full of fun and games, learning and exploring, trial and error, tears, and laughter. So we remain faithful, as always, to the sources of our writing, to bring these sorts of views to you as factually as possible. Much of this week's information comes from Danielle Sobalski of the Medieval Podcast, also known as the 5-Minute Medievalist. Her information is great and was a big help for writing this week's script, even if it was a little shorter than usual. At least it was fun! I had a great time coming to talk to you again for this, our 2,000 subscriber special, and I hope you'll take time to like, subscribe, and, like Anita Ward said, ring my bell, ring my bell. New projects every Thursday at 3 p.m. Pacific, and episode 2 of Monomyth, Catch and Kiss, coming soon. And I'm not kidding you guys. I have been working hard to get this video up before our subscriber account exploded, so I just had to do something for all the new faces. So if you're new and just arrived, your support helps us greatly in getting these projects and episodes out to you faster. So please consider visiting the Patreon link included in the description and check out the tiers we have to offer. Starting at just $1 a month, those at the $10 tier can gain access to a new page of the Monomyth comic book every week. The $50 Keeper tier gets access to the raw scripts so you can read the story way ahead of time, should you prefer the sort of novel format to the story. For now, let's me give a big thanks to our current patrons. Shadow Fox, Arya Gamari, Charles Tam, Jace Marlowe, Lunder Lumen. Art for this week is our great channel artist Bogbog on Fiverr. You know him by now, he's been quite a great asset to this channel all June and continues to deliver great art like this consistently to really spruce things up. Oh. But what about the animation, you ask? That would be Abhinav on Fiverr as well. They do some fantastic work at bringing our characters to life and adding all the fun elements to our story. Links to our artists, Patreon, as well as the medievalists are down in the description. Please spread the support to these fine creators as well, and I'll see you all next week.